Okay. I am on a mission to get to know as many Dead by Daylight creators as I possibly can, and in that effort, I have started this little series called Conversations by Daylight. And today, I am joined by the king of Weskers, Al. I mispronounce your name all the time. Al Ranikin?
Al Ranikin.
Yeah. I was calling you Alcarian for the longest time. And
a lot of people mispronounce it.
I was talking to Pixie one day, and I mentioned you, and she was like, "Who?" I was like, "You're a mod in his chat. What do you mean?" And she was like, "Oh, you mean Al Ran?" And I looked at your name, and I was like, "Yeah, it seems I fucked up somewhere." So Al, just for the people out there who might not know who you are and what you do, you want to tell them a little bit about yourself?
I mean, I don't know. I don't really do much. I stream DBD. I play a lot of Wesker. I'm the dude who found his hug tech and other things. That's mostly what I'm known for.
Oh, so you actually were the one that discovered how to do the hug tech?
Mm-hmm.
Oh wow, I didn't know that part. It's rare to talk to the people who like actually discover the techs. Because like there are people who are like known for doing the techs, but like the people who actually discover it, like it becomes such a widely known thing that it's hard to pinpoint who usually finds them. Did you also find Skinny Bert or?
Yes, yeah. Most of Wesker's tech.
I've been trying to do hug tech for ages and I can never do it. I just
yeah,
I literally
it's
just
a lot harder than Blights.
Yeah. I literally just bump into things, or it doesn't let me click at all. It'll just prevent me from clicking like at all, which is frustrating. But okay, so for those of you who don't know how this works, I have 10 questions and then I pull 10 questions from the community. And this isn't like a magazine interview. I don't just write down your answers and move on. It's more of a conversation. So we'll just go through, see where the stuff takes us, and we'll get started. The most common one that I like to ask people is why Dead by Daylight? Like why'd you start with Dead by Daylight?
Well, my brothers played this game and they got me into it. Like, they've been playing since launch. I only started in 2019.
So you started before Wesker then?
Yeah, I used to play Billy. He was a lot of fun.
Did it break your heart when he went to Overheat Billy?
Yeah, that shit sucked. And then, again, when he got Sky Billy removed.
They just, from my understanding, they butchered the fuck out of Billy for a long time.
Yeah. And now he's back to being the best killer in the game, but he's not as fun. He's not the same killer, you know?
Oh, I was enjoying him, but like I had to stop playing him because I kept getting cucked by hitboxes, and I was so tired of it. I can only watch survivors run directly into my chainsaw and not get hit like so many times before I start getting like really frustrated. And then like I'd start banging off of like leaves and shit like that, and I'm just like, okay, all right, dude.
Yeah. The collision issues are rough.
I honestly, I think this might be one of the worst collisions in gaming I've ever witnessed, like just in general with Dead by Daylight. Like I was playing Wesker for background footage for this interview, and there were several points where I said audibly out loud, I was like, how does Al play this fucking character? Because I would go to dash into somebody, and I would very obviously like touch them, and they would keep moving, and then I would bang off of like thin air, and I was just like, oh, okay. Or I would grab someone, toss them into a rock, and they would just slide off the rock, and I was like, okay, all right, dude. So why'd you end up making the transfer to Wesker?
Oh, because, well, like I said, Sky Billy was removed when Dredge came out. And Wesker had come out just before that. I think he was literally the chapter right before. And I found him really fun. But it wasn't until I found Hug Tech that I actually started, like, maining him.
How did you?
Because it's just really fun.
How did you discover it was just like it randomly happened one day and you were like,
yeah,
right.
It just randomly happened. I was explaining a completely different tech and then I accidentally Hug Tech.
All right, so this is wait, what the fuck was that? So like when you discover the text, like how long does it normally take you before you're able to replicate them consistently?
Well, for hug tech is really hard. It probably took me like not a long time to replicate it like the first time in a custom, but to be able to do it every match, that took a long time.
And
I
now
have about 3,000 hours on it, and I still can't hug tech every time because it's just that hard.
What actively goes into it that like makes it so much different from blights?
Well, it's a timing thing. You have to actually time it. You have to use your dash like the second before your collision would be blocked by a wall, and you have to actively be moving into it. With blight, you just walk up to a wall and look down. There's no timing, there's no positioning, there's nothing.
Oh, okay. That's why I can't do it. I all I ever see, because like from a third party perspective, when I look at the Wesker, the hug tech, all I see is one dash, turn around, somehow dash into the wall, and then slide around 14 corners and grab somebody with your ass cheeks. It's
Yeah.
every time I see it from a third. I guess I should. You probably have a tutorial out there. I probably should go watch if I'm going to actually actively learn how to try it. You said you have 3,000 hours. How long did it take you to master all of the other techs? Because Wesker's got a bunch of them.
All the other ones. Oh, he does have it. He's a ton. I would say I mean I haven't. He has like just a bunch. He has so many, but like they're not easily mastered. You can just play Wesker for easily 10,000 hours, and you wouldn't come close.
So, like, would you say that like the skill ceiling of Wesker is like astronomically high, or the mechanical ceiling at least?
Yeah. Nobody will ever reach it. I think it's physically impossible. Because you would have to, like, there are several frame perfect techs that they're just basically impossible for a human to get good enough at, to be consistent with.
So what would be like the top three techs in your opinion that's like on a scale of like easy to hard, the easiest to master to the hardest?
Okay, so like the top three most important, easiest to hardest? Okay, I would say probably the easiest is just arrow bending, and it's also the most important by far. That's just turning your camera during a dash to aim where you throw the survivor. That's for sure the most important, and probably the easiest, though I think it has a really high skill ceiling. Then maybe the second, like in between V1ing or double dashing. That's where you use your first dash, bump into a wall, and then instantly use your second dash. And so you have access to the longer distance of the second dash instantly.
Oh, okay.
That is actually an extremely useful tech. I think it's very underutilized. And then I guess like hug tech and variations of it for the third.
So when you,
because there's like a lot of different hug tech.
So when we typically talk about hug tech, like I said, the way I think of it is the look left, slide right, grab somebody with your ass cheeks type of thing. But like, what is like how many? Like you said, there's a lot. Like, what is the complexity of his hug techs?
Oh, that's a hard question. There's like, okay, so the two keys to his hug tech is the timing and the momentum. You can't hug tech from standstill. You need momentum pushing you in the direction of the wall, and you need to time your dash right before you cross the threshold of the wall's collision. So you can theoretically hug tech in a ton of different ways. Like you can rebound hug tech, you can bump off a wall, and using the momentum from the bump, you know how Wesker like bumps off a wall and it pushes him backwards. You can use that to hug tech. You can use your first dash to set up a hug tech because you're moving so fast in your first dash. If you land exactly on the corner of a wall, you still maintain your momentum a little bit going to the chainbound window. So you can use the second dash to instantly hug tech. That's an insta hug. There's also, you can do, this is a very rare one. I don't know that anybody even knows about this really, but you can hug tech while falling down. You can like hug tech. Like if you were in Father Campbell's chapel main and you fell, oops, I bumped my mic. If you fell down like the window area, I don't know, the little drop down, you can hug tech the wall as you're falling down. And it's kind of silly. It's really hard to do though.
Jesus Christ. So somebody who's got a lot of time in Wesker would probably be more like the most unpredictable bastard on the fucking planet. Cause like at any time
you can do a lot of random shit.
At any time it's just like, cause like there's been a few times where I've been against a Weskers and I just like, I'm like, okay, he's looking at me, let me round this corner, and then suddenly I'm grabbed and I'm like, okay, I guess not then. I didn't even hear him go. It happened to me a couple nights ago. Like I heard his little laugh that he does when he first pulls out the power, and then as soon as I heard the laugh, I was being grabbed, and I was like, what? Where? How? So do you think like with the amount of, it sounds like the main reason for playing Wesker is just the amount of like shit he can do. Do you think there's ever going to be a killer who can take you away from playing him?
I mean, probably not. I think he's by far the most technical character in the game, and the only one that came close was Blight, and they removed a lot of Blight stuff. I don't know. Maybe in the future, maybe, but probably not. Like, his design is just so unique, I don't think they could replicate it. I mean, I'll say Chucky also came close, but they gutted Chucky. He's not even like, he doesn't even do anything anymore.
I'll be honest, like I wasn't playing when Chucky released. I was taking a break, and I am very upset they removed like 180s in favor of just like handing him a dash every 12 seconds, because it was just like I'm gonna be doing
it's a 10-second cooldown now. They buffed it again.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna be doing a conversation with like 3 Chucky mains coming up.
I don't think any Chucky mains are happy with where he is right now.
Yeah, so it's gonna be interesting to hear their perspective, but like I feel like there's just so much that they took away from Chucky. Like Manual Scamper obviously had to go, but like at the same time, like the fact that Chucky is just kind of locked into this forward dash with like a little 90-degree flick that you can do occasionally with like some weird camera movements. I feel like there's so much more they could have given him. I like the design of characters who are like, easy to learn but hard to master. And I feel like they just kind of wrecked that with Chucky.
Yeah. Now he's easy to learn, easy to master.
Yeah.
He doesn't really have a lot of depth. That's why I like Wesker, though. Like, he's really easy to get into. He's one of the most popular characters to play in the game, but I do think he has the highest skill ceiling in the game by far.
Yeah, the more, because like when before we got into this, when I was thinking about questions about Wesker, the only techs I knew about was Euro bending, Skinny Burt, which I just still do not know how Skinny Burt works, and hug teching. I didn't know that there was like such an astronomical amount of text that the character has, and I wonder like why he's coded in that kind of way.
I actually know the answer to that. It's because they didn't want Sky Wesker. They coded his collision backwards from the idea of how do we stop his power at ledges. We don't want him to dash off ledges. And because of that, he just has like 20 different random techs and weird-ass collision.
Oh my god, dude.
He grabs from a mile away sometimes. He goes through people. Just nonsense, buggy character.
The dashing. Oh my! I didn't know he couldn't dash off of ledges, which irritated the crap out of me, which is such a weird limitation to put on a character, by the way.
Yeah.
But because I tried to when I was playing for the B-roll, people will probably see it in the background while they're watching this if they watch it, but because some people listen to these. But I was on Eerie of Cox, and I grabbed a Meg, I think, and I was on the landing in the stairs in Maine, and I grabbed her off the ledge, and then we both just fell straight down, and she just ran off, and I was like, okay, I'll go fuck myself then. My bad. It's, I guess I wasn't. I guess that wasn't for me. What's your advice for people who are like just starting out on Wesker?
Don't worry about hug tech. Don't worry about his all his techs. They don't matter. Like, just try to use your M2 as much as possible, and try to be conscious of where you're throwing people. Because a lot of people, well, for one, people don't even know that Ura bending exists at all. To some people. And two, even if they do know it exists, they just autopilot, like, they bind, look left and right to Q and E, and they just hold a direction. They don't actually aim at all.
Oh, wow. Do you think that, are you like me and get annoyed when Weskers run a bunch of M1 perks and, like, never M2?
Yeah. I mean, I think it's just a shame, because he's a really cool character. He's really fun to go against when they use their power, but...
Yeah, like, that's what I was thinking. I run into... When I run into Weskers, it's one of two things. It's either the hug tech, try to M2 you at every opportunity, like, really fun to play against character, or it's the, I will literally never M2, and I'm gonna run Franklin's Weave, Sloppy Butcher, No-Ed. And I'm just like, why, though? Like, you're playing a character who quite possibly has the most fun M2 in the game, and you're just opting to not use it. I don't think a lot of people realize you can back rev as Wesker if you're still getting used to it. Like,
yeah.
You don't have to, like, try to...
I mean, even if you're not just getting used to it, it's still very useful. A lot of survivors will just juke out in the open, just for no reason, and let you throw them wherever you want. Like, you can throw people edge map and just insta-kill them.
It is really funny.
That is one tip I would say. Don't, like, if you have the ability to lock yourself into an animation against Wesker, just do it. Like, if he has his M2 pulled up and you have a window right there, just spam the spacebar, vault it, so he can't throw you.
Oh yeah, because even if he reaches you, he'll just slap you, right?
Yeah.
I always find it interesting when you're able to slam people against thin air. That's always fucking funny.
Yeah.
Couple questions for your content, and then we'll probably get into the community section as well. Did you ever expect to blow up the way you did in content creation? Because, like, I mean, maybe people don't know, but, like, your Twitch actually pops off, like, a lot. Like, a lot of people tune in to watch you do Wesker things. Did you ever expect that, or were you just like, I'll just start doing this and see what happens?
Well, I mean, I started off just playing Billy for, like, 3 people, if I was lucky. But I figured I would get, like, a little boost when I found Hug Tech, because that's cool. It's a cool thing to be able to show off, and I was the first one doing it. But yeah, I didn't expect to get to where I am. No,
it's a weird feeling for sure. Even for me, like when I look at like my YouTube and stuff, and I'm just like, where did you all come from? Why are you here? I'm just a dude telling dick jokes on YouTube, man. Don't why are you all here? I feel like a lot of people just don't realize that expectation it could be a goal, but that expectation is never there. It's so hard to think that you're one of those people that's going to end up in that situation.
I would say if you're if you're going into it for that, it's not the right way of doing things.
Yeah,
I don't think you should like stream or do YouTube in hopes of it being a successful thing, because 99% of the time it's not.
Yeah, I mean, I think once I like just started making content because I loved it, it became a lot better. Instead of like chasing algorithms and shit, I just started doing whatever ideas popped into my head, and that was where that went. Do you, whenever you're doing things, do you ever do something in the hopes of finding a new tech, or every single one of them is literally just stumbled upon randomly?
Oh no, I've like searched for a tech that I just thought might exist, and I found stuff like that. Absolutely, I just go into customs and bump into walls and stuff every now and then, and just to see.
Do you do the thing where every time a new patch drops, you like go to every map and like test out stuff that already existed and see what happens?
But not every map, but I'll do a couple just to see.
Do you think
just to see if like certain spots are patched or something like that?
Do you think it's possible for them to remove like hug teching entirely?
Yeah, but they would need to rework his collision from the ground up. I don't know if they want to do that much work. I guess it would be a Blight situation. They would have to completely rework his collision just like they did with Blight. And so even if they do it, it's probably not for a while.
Would you drop the character if they did?
Yeah, probably, yeah.
Would you move on to someone else?
I mean, it depends on what else they removed. If it was just hug tech, maybe not. But if it was like everything, then yeah, I wouldn't really have a reason to play him.
Do you have a goal with content now that it's like started to take off for you and things?
No, I'm just doing whatever. I mean, I rarely upload.
Just chilling and living your life through it.
Mm-hmm.
Will you ever move on to other games besides DBD, or is DBD just gonna stay like the main thing?
I'm probably not sticking with DBD. I gotta be honest, it's not.
That's starting to wear on you a little bit.
Yeah, the only reason I'm playing this game is for Wesker, which, if you're just playing for one specific thing, it's way easier to burn out.
Yeah, no, I understand. I know that eventually I'm going to quit this game like completely. Like eventually there's going to come a time where I'm just like completely burnt out on it, because it's just, I don't know. I feel like they just need to update the core game some way. Like there needs to be like some complete and utter difference in the way that we play the game, like to the core game mode, because like all of these limited time like 2v8 and lights out and chaos shuffle and what have you, these can only last for so long before it's just like, can we please update the main game like in a way that doesn't suck, please?
Yeah, I like 2v8. I like it a lot. But you're not wrong.
I just wish and I don't know if there's anything they can do about it. I just wish the killer queue times weren't so damn bad.
I mean, it makes sense. It's the first time you've ever been able to duo with a killer.
Yeah, I'm hoping that
everybody wants to do it.
Yeah, I'm hoping that I'm hoping the queue times improve over the weekend, because it's a free-to-play weekend, so a lot of people are going to be coming in to try it. People are going to be bringing in their friends and stuff like that. Last question before we get to the community section. You have the option to add one thing into Dead by Daylight. What would it be?
I would add back the Skybilly. That is what I would do.
I have actually, you know what? I have a question about Skybilly, because I see a lot of people mention it. You know, people who played back then. Was it literally just for like jump scare and meme purposes, or did it have like an actual like?
No, it was not useful at all. That's why it sucks that they removed it. Like, it was terrible. It was you had to take like an entire minute to set it up. It did nothing.
I watched old Rapid main videos, and he would go to like I think like Erie, and he would like do it up there, and then just from the very very tip top of the map, snipe somebody, and I always thought that was the funniest fucking thing I've ever seen.
Yeah. Well, that was Space Billy. I don't know. The devs definitely don't like Space Billy, but I think Sky Billy was fine. It was just where you bounced off like random objects.
Oh, okay.
You didn't like shoot directly up into space and get on top of the main building of whatever map.
Oh, okay. Kind of like what well no, because Demo Doggy doesn't go that high, but Demo also can bounce off of shit. Yeah. That hole in Gideon's, he can. I see a lot of clips of people doing that one.
I used to do some sky demo stuff.
It's such a. This game is coded so odd. Like they love putting dash characters in, but like every single dash character always has like this very weird setup where like they all have like collision problems that can sometimes turn into funny haha text.
Yeah, well, because every time they try to make a dash killer, they don't want them to dash off of things, which I think is just absurd. Like, they add hills and stuff in the game, but they don't want you dashing off of it. Why add the verticality in the first place? You don't need to have a main building with a second floor if you don't want killers to, like, lunge off of it.
Yeah, oh,
why is it in the game in the first place?
Yeah.
Why do they add invisible walls? Like, just don't have the main building there. You don't need it.
Yeah, it is frustrating. Like I remember when I discovered like what is it, Garden of Jagovs, the balconies on Haddonfuck, where you just can't dash off of things. And I'm like, but why? Like, why is it? Why? I feel like they're so limited on like the amount of cool shit you can do for no reason. Because like, realistically speaking, how often with Billy or Wesker or anybody, how often is jumping off of the top of the main building going to help you get it down? It's just gonna look cool. It's like, or at the very least, like I said with Wesker earlier, when I dashed onto and I grabbed the Meg on the landing on the stairs, and we both just fell down. Like, why is that a thing? Why can I not continue my momentum off the ledge and toss her? It just doesn't make any sense to me.
I don't know. I think it's like really cool too. Like you see a Sky Billy clip or like a demo clip, like the game clip you were talking about, and it's just fucking cool. It's a cool thing. People want to see it.
Yeah.
But they hate it for some reason.
Yeah,
I don't understand.
It's just I don't understand the concept of removing spectacle from the game, because like it's technically a horror game. I hate when people say it's not a horror game. Like, just because it doesn't scare you guys doesn't mean it's not a horror game. But like, I don't think that anybody can say that. I feel like the game has lost its atmosphere. So like, might as well lean into the goofy spectacle shit, because we don't have fucking we don't have the creepy fog and the dark lighting and the charming graphics anymore. Everything's become too mainstream, too normalized. So might as well just let people have their goofy bounce techs and fucking Sky Billy and all of that other crap. Like, I don't like, the more we talk about it, the more it kind of baffles me as to how they're just all about removing spectacle.
Yeah, I don't really get it, because it's like that's literally what got me into the game. I started playing this game because my brother played Billy and he showed me some cool stuff, and I wanted to play that. Like, it's literally something that gets people talking, it gets people interested in the game, and they remove it. They hate it. But they create their own problem. Like, none of this would even exist if they didn't add any form of verticality in the game to begin with. I don't get why they continue to do so.
Yeah.
Every new map, they add a main building, and they have to add a giant invisible wall surrounding the entire thing, because no fun allowed. And I don't get it. Doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah. It reminds me of I don't know how experienced you are with Overwatch 1, but
very.
Yeah, so I was a coach during Overwatch 1. I was a personal coach, so I played a shitload of the game. when they started removing like all of the cool shit you could do, like
Genji, like
yeah,
ledge dash.
yeah, Genji's ledge dashing and shit like that, and people were just like, why are we doing this? Like, what's the point in removing skill? I did a whole video on this for Dead by Daylight specifically. Like, what's the point in removing skill expression from the game and trying to like hard limit what people can do inside the game?
Yeah, they did that for Lucio. I stopped playing Overwatch a lot because of that. They like heavily simplified his movement. It sucks.
Yeah, Mercy mains.
I don't know. Game devs like have a vision of how they want the game to be, and they do not care what the community thinks.
Yeah.
Nowadays,
it's just really sad. I feel like skill expression and spectacle is something that brings people to games, and just taking so much of those out is just frustrating.
I mean, yeah, you know how many people I get saying they started playing Wesker because they saw me doing some cool stuff? Like, I get like 3 every stream. It's insane. Like, it's cool. People want to see like sky stuff. They want to see like cool text because it gets them interested. It gets them wanting to play the game, wanting to improve. It gives them a goal to work towards. But now there's nothing.
Yeah. Yeah. The more you remove, the more samey and repetitive you make every single match. And I mean, like, I honestly wouldn't be mad if there was more stuff to learn on the Survivor side as well. You know, like CJ teching is like the most what's the word I'm looking for? Intensive thing that survivors can do, mechanically intensive thing. Because like spinning is a lot easier than people realize. Every time I do a spin, people are like, "Oh, I don't get it." It was like, just move your mouse in the opposite direction you're moving. You'll be fine. I mean,
spinning isn't really up to you to succeed. It's up to the killer to whiff. So that's why I hate the blind buffer change, because flashbangs and flashlights were high skill items, especially flashbang. They were like the hardest thing in the game for Survivor. But now they're almost impossible to miss.
Yeah, and
it's very tough.
No, go for it.
I don't know. It's basically what made me stop playing Survivor, because there's just nothing that I can do mechanically that is very skillful beyond looping, and half the killers in the game are just anti-loop anyway. It feels like there's nothing for me to improve at except like the macro game, like the 4v1, which I don't have a team to play with. I'm not going to improve with that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's frustrating. I like it, on the killer side. It's also frustrating because it's like, not only remove the skill from the survivor side, but on the killer side, it's infuriating to watch a survivor fucking start a flashlight 76 hours after I've done the pickup and still get it off. I can't count the number.
Like blatantly miss.
Yeah.
But the game says, "Oh, here you go."
Yeah. Like I can't count the number of times I pick up a survivor, fully pick them up, turn completely around, and the blind goes off, and I drop them, and I'm just like, oh,
I hate that.
Okay, I guess I'll go fuck myself then.
They want it to be more accessible for new players, but I don't think that, like, it's silly.
Yep.
A new player should not be able to get, like, the game, join their first match, and do just as well as somebody with 1,000 hours. That's just not how games work. That's not how anything works. But they want it to be how it works. That's why they added it.
Yeah, well, they want it
goofy.
Yeah, I think they want it to be, because at its core, Dead by Daylight's a strategy game, right? Like, outside of specific characters like, you know, Weskers and you know, Blight, Nurse, etc., like mechanical intensive characters. Outside of those specifics, it's not a mechanically intensive game. And I get that. You want to lean into the strategy part of it, the macro sense and the micro sense and all of that other stuff. But at the same time, you need to stop taking away skill ceilings from people. You need, like, mechanic ceilings are fun and interesting, and it's something to learn after you've learned the base core strategy of the game. But, like, the more they remove, the more it feels frustrating, because it's kind of like in card games, the way I look at it. You start off with a basic deck, so you learn how everything works. And then after you learn the core game, then you can start learning the more difficult decks to pilot and how to bluff your opponent and stuff like that. You know, it should be a stepping stone. I don't understand this need for instant gratification.
I mean, the type of game I always try to compare DBD to is a fighting game, because there's like actually a lot of similarities, especially in matchups. Like how each killer is fundamentally its own game. Like there's not one Dead by Daylight. There's core mechanics that transfer over, but you have to treat each killer as a completely different subject, a completely different game.
Mm-hmm.
Like you would not play against Ghostface the same as you would against Wesker.
Right.
Completely different.
No, for sure.
There's a lot like matchups in fighting games. How like you wouldn't play against a zoner the same you would a grappler, which is and I don't know. In fighting games, you would never expect somebody who just started to pull off the hardest combo on their character. They're just button mashing, and that's fine. But behavior wants. They take accessibility for new players like a bit to the extreme.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
In reality, like I'm all for accessibility for new players, but I don't think it should be. I don't think it should be mechanics. I think that
Yeah, I was gonna say the same thing.
Yeah, like strategy accessibility is fine. The information part of this game, I think, needs to be more accessible. Like,
oh, absolutely. Yeah, it should be information. It should be like there should be better tutorials.
Mm-hmm.
There should be, better loading tips. They're terrible. There should be easier access to like the pause menu thing they did where you can read what your perks do in game. That's a great change. They should do that, but for all of your teammates' perks as you're loading in. That would be amazing for new players.
Yep.
Also, players don't have access to all the perks as fast as they should.
Yeah.
Like, it takes forever to grind in this game. That's what they should be focusing on, but it's not, because they... they don't care about that. They want players to buy every single chapter, because that's what gets the money, and they want them to grind, because the more you play the game, the more likely you are to spend money.
Yeah, no, exactly. And it's like, it's so frustrating because at the end of the day, like, who was it? Naya? Deadly Naya? One time she mentioned, like, just remove perk tiers. Like, every perk should just be tier 3 off the bat. And at first I was like, that's dumb. But then the more I thought about it, I was like, no, that's actually a great point. Why do we fucking have these? There's 300 goddamn perks in the game. That's not necessary anymore. Back when there was, 30 perks or whatever, sure. Give people a little bit of a grind, but like nowadays, just the act of getting every single perk is a goddamn grind. Not to mention getting them to tier 3, So I'm frustrated at the way that they're approaching the new player experience, because it almost makes the vet player experience a little bit worse for no adequate reason. So on to some community questions. I posted a community post over on YouTube, and we had a few, but I ended up picking out 10. Our first one comes from Shallot of Cecilia, and they said, in your opinion, how much more powerful do techs make Wesker?
Barely at all. They're really not helpful. A lot of them, it's a knowledge check. If you know about Wesker hug tech and you know the Wesker you're going against and hug tech, you'll never get hit by it, because it's just so slow, it's easily avoidable. V1's helpful, Urabending is helpful. I guess if you consider Urabending a tech and not a mechanic, as it is, then I guess without Urabending, he would be one of the worst killers in the game, so there's that. Like, he would be an RNG killer.
Yeah. What causes the issue where when you throw somebody at like a solid like surface, they just slide off of it?
That's it could be due to a couple different things, but that's Skinny Bert. Either you were aiming like in between two objects and they bumped off of one slightly, but not enough to get damaged, and that bumped them into the next object and had them slid along it, even though you aimed in between those two objects. or it could be an object like a hill. Like if you ever throw somebody at Swamp Hill, you're never gonna hit them because it's not a wall; it's a slope. And so the game thinks they can just travel up it when they can't. They don't see it. The game doesn't see it as a wall. It sees it as stairs, basically.
Oh, okay. That's really frustrating.
Or it can also be like a ledge. It can see it as like an elevation. That happens with a lot of rocks and trees. Like if you ever try to slam somebody into the edge of a tree, they'll just fall out of your hands a lot of the time because the game sees it as a ledge and it thinks you're trying to do sky shit. And it's like, no.
Yeah, I've always put Wesker in like the middle of A tier. Do you like agree with that placement or
no? I think Wesker is one of the most overrated killers in the game. I gotta be honest. Like he is so linear. His dashes go in a straight line, and without uni, the first one is not very long. They're not like easily reactable. They are fast, but they're very predictable. He's one of the most predictable killers in the game. If you've played Wesker, you know how he approaches a loop. It's really hard for him to hit you, especially more round loops. Like the best example is Nostromo Main. Nostromo Main table, that loop. What the fuck does Wesker do about that loop? It's completely round. He travels in straight lines. And most loops in this game are round. They're not straight. Like he has a good time at jungle gyms, at like, you know, like long walls, TNLs, but those aren't the majority of the loops in the game. The majority of the loops are filler loops, which are more rounded, which he can't actually play. I don't know. A lot of people are just not good at going against Wesker because he is kind of intimidating. But if people knew how to play against him more, I don't think he would be viewed nearly as highly as he is.
That's interesting. Villain asks, if DBD had another Resident Evil chapter, who would be your personally preferred killer and survivor choices?
Another Resident Evil chapter, you said? I don't really play Resident Evil games, so I would like to see Barry. He's a character I know. I like him. But killer? I don't know what they could do that's interesting.
I don't know, Lady D.
I know a lot of people wanted Lady Dimitrescu, whatever.
Yeah,
but I don't know. I don't know what her power would be. I would like a killer with an interesting power more than I care about like their lore or design. I mean, Ethan would be cool as a survivor. I think I don't think they would ever do it because his whole face thing they do with him. You're not supposed to see his face ever. He'd be funny though.
I wish I knew more about Resident Evil so I could add to the conversation.
Yeah, I got no idea what I would choose for killer though.
I don't know, squeaky voice
just
Napoleon.
Wesker again.
Squeaky voice Napoleon from Resident Evil 4. Give us another killer to punt.
Yeah, okay, that would be kind of funny. I don't know what he would do though. I don't know. I just don't know a Resident Evil character that would have it like an interesting power. I don't know what they could work with.
Yeah, that's the hardest thing. I think a lot of times when you're talking about bringing licenses in the game, like the hardest conversation to have is not necessarily whether or not I mentioned this. I did a video on whether or not Pennywise should come to the game. And I said the hardest part about adaptations in Dead by Daylight is not just taking the character and putting him in the game, it's making the character feel like the character. Because any jackass can just take a character model and put it in a video game. You know, Fortnite does it all the time, but that doesn't mean that you're playing as that character. And that's what Dead by Daylight excels at, except for Freddy. You know, they make you feel like
I would say Nemesis as well. Does not really feel like Nemesis.
Yeah, that's what I've been told by a lot of people is that he doesn't really feel like the Nemesis from the games, which I wish I knew more about the character so I could say whether or not, you know, how that would be fixed. Because from my understanding, that little tentacle thing he does isn't like really a part of Nemesis.
No, he usually uses guns, you know? He's like a big hulking monster. He's more like a stalker or a chaser, I
Hmm.
guess. He's like kind of like Myers. If instead of just staring at you in the distance, he was always barreling towards you. He's also extremely fucking fast. Like ultra speed. He doesn't move like super slow like in the game. His walking animation is actually weird in DBD. If you ever stop to look at it, it just looks kind of weird with how slow he walks.
It's so goofy.
Yeah. But
Well,
he would be more of a dash killer or something if he were more
accurate. I wonder.
faithful. Yeah.
I wonder if like if his power was like something that like barreled through like fucking pallets or something.
Yeah,
Like,
no, that would be the most accurate. If he could like straight up bust through a breakable wall, that would be Nemesis, but they didn't do that. Also give him a rocket launcher.
um. So this one comes from Lordly Shrimp. We kind of went over this earlier, but they're because they ask what you like about Wesker makes you play him, which you said it was the techs and things like that. But they asked if he wasn't in the game, who would you play? And earlier you mentioned that you only play Dead by Daylight for Wesker. So like if he wasn't in the game, would you have just like quit the game by this point?
Yeah, I would have just quit after Skybilly was removed. I wouldn't be playing. I might have like maybe come back right now for 2v8, but I don't think. I mean, in that alternate universe, I wouldn't have made all the friends I did through Wesker, so I probably wouldn't have had fun with 2v8.
Yeah, fair enough. I played with Hex yesterday, and it was a fucking blast. It was so
Yeah, it's
funny.
really fun.
It was so. It also helps that when you have one of the top huntresses on your team. Jack Simpson says, "How do you feel about the current state of Wesker in the recent patch?" I'm not sure what they're referring to there. And also, if there was one mechanic you would change or improve with Wesker, what would it be?
Okay, well, they're referring to Wesker's hitbox being extremely buggy ever since the UE5 update. You'll notice, I mean, you probably have noticed, you were talking about it earlier, you'll just go directly through survivors now.
Yeah.
And sometimes you'll just grab them through walls, because it just desyncs all the time now. And it's frustrating. Extremely frustrating. He was undeniably smoother to play before UE5. But he's slowly getting better. I don't know.
Did they patch
And the
the
mechanic...
lingering stun?
Yeah.
For the pallet? Okay, that's
What?
good. The lingering stun on pallets for Wesker, where a stun
Oh,
wouldn't
like if you
have.
dash past a pallet and get stunned after?
Well, you can. So what would happen was someone would drop a pallet, you wouldn't get stunned, and then you would like do whatever you had to do, and then when you would go back to the pallet to break it, you would just randomly get stunned when you touched
Oh,
it.
yeah, that's a UE5 thing, yep. And it's one of the many byproducts of UE5. That also happens with Power Struggle. It's not just Wesker.
Oh, okay. But yeah, you were gonna say the mechanic change, remove, add, etc.
I mean, I would remove Hindered just completely, and then buff. He gets a shorter cooldown per infected survivor. He gets like 0.5 seconds off his charge of his power per infected survivor. I would just buff that to 0.75 seconds. That's what I would do. And then if I could go further with that than just infection changes, I would completely rework leather gloves, loose crank, green herb, and I don't know, a couple other add-ons. He has like a lot of add-ons that just do literally nothing. Maiden Medallion.
I've noticed a lot of Wesker mains talk about the hindered and how they think it's just kind of like a meaningless thing to have in there.
Like it's just an extra effect for no reason, just to have it. And hindered's not. It's not fun to go against.
It can feel bad. I actually came because when I was still learning how to play against Wesker. I was like, I couldn't figure out like when you should spray, because like, you know, like Nemesis don't need a cleanse until you're like death hook and injured. Plague, you don't typically cleanse until you're death hook. But I couldn't figure out how to do it with Wesker. I was like, do you wait till your death hook so you don't waste the sprays? And people were like, the infection is literally so fucking strong because of the hinder that you might as well get rid of it like off the bat. Like you might as well just right away grab the spray, get rid of it, because it's just
yeah, not so much anymore after the changes, but
yeah, because now
it was basically how it was.
Resets to 1, right?
Mm-hmm. Fully resets when you get unhooked.
I you know,
it's kind of, I mean, it's kind of useless now.
Yeah. How often do you see people get fully infected? Because when I play Wesker, it doesn't happen that often.
Almost never, really. The only time it happens, it's like once every like 5 or 6 games, maybe. The only time it happens is if somebody just refuses to spray, even though I'm not hooking them. Like, it makes sense to not spray if you're just going to be chased again and it's going to reset on its own anyways, because, like, why waste the time spraying?
Right.
But if I'm not chasing you, I'm chasing other people, then yeah, you should go spray.
It's kind of like Sadico's Condemned. People just refusing to fucking put the tape. I had a Dwight on my team who, like, got really mad at us because he died. And he'd never cleansed. And I was like, because he was like, oh my god, I died without getting hooked once. And I was like, brother, you didn't. What do you mean? Like, you could have avoided that. He never picked up a tape. And he was like calling us stupid. And he was like, it's just a dumb mechanic. I was like, bro, just go fucking put the tape in a TV. Like, please, why are we doing this, you know? Rabid Guard Dog asks, for Wesker's Mori, do you have a favorite survivor to be punched by?
Favorite survivor to be punched by? No, I never bring his Mori. I don't know.
You just have like fucking 3,000 Moris just sitting there and never used.
Yeah, I never use Moris. I wish they actually like did something, then I would bring them. But I don't know. Just you bring blood point offerings. You don't bring Moris.
I don't know. I bring Moris if I like the animation. Like I like Weskers. I like Xenomorphs. I like nurses, though I hardly play nurse anymore. I don't know. Sometimes it's just fun. It's just for funsies. But yeah, you're right. Most of the time you bring blood point offerings.
I like Weskers Mori. It is kind of funny to get punched in the face.
You disappoint me.
Favorite greatly. Survivor is, I don't have that. Maybe Gerald. I choose Gerald. If only he still existed.
Die Donor Bood. What a name. Says, what is your favorite Wesker perk and add-on?
Wesker perk could be like his teachables or just favorite perk to use on him.
I read it as his
I'm
teachables.
Not sure. Yeah, my favorite of his teachables is probably Superior Anatomy. That one's pretty fun. I wish they unnerfed Awakened Awareness. Because like they nerfed it because of the Starstruck Nurse, but then they made it so Starstruck doesn't work on Nurse, and then they never reverted the nerf.
Yeah.
That was interesting.
Yeah, I was talking about that the other day. I was like, Awakened Awareness could have a lingering like 5 seconds or some shit, and it would be fine. Because like even Starstruck nowadays is like usable on like 3 people. it's great for body blocks, but I really only use Starstruck on Slinger, Spirit, and Slinger.
That's about it.
So yeah, Slinger and Spirit. Yeah, that's the only thing. No, I guess you could use it on Wraith. I guess. like technically, but like even on Wraith, I don't find it like that because he's still just an M1 killer. So it's like someone starstruck and then you go bong bong and then you go to chase them and then they just drop a pallet and run away and you're like, okay, my bad.
I'd say my favorite add-on on him is definitely Lion Medallion though.
Mm-hmm.
That's easy pick.
That's the one that throws them further.
Yep, 30% extra throw distance.
Just chuck them into the next trial.
Mm-hmm. I wish it was better. I wish it was more than 30% because it's not that much, but I still like it.
What was I guess we can extend that question to like what's your favorite perk to use on him in general?
I don't really like a lot of killer perks, to be honest. They're kind of boring. Most of them are slow down. I guess I like oppression, just because I think that perk is funny. And machine learning now is kind of cool. It is kind of annoying though. It's a really annoying perk to use.
Yeah, it's so. My problem with machine learning is that it's way too dependent on them finishing the fucking generator. Which I know sounds weird because like survivors are gonna finish generators, but like sometimes you kick a gen.
Yeah, sometimes you kick it and they just leave.
Yeah, they just fuck off and they never go back to it, and it's like, oh, okay, all right, well, I guess.
Feel like it's really weird too because the gen you kick is not the gen you want them to do. The gens you're kicking are the ones that you're like patrolling.
Yeah,
it's a weird backwards perk. It has like reverse synergy with slowdown.
I almost feel like it would be a better perk if it activated off one kick. I mean, I don't see why it has to be 2 kicks.
Oh yeah, that's another thing. It uses 2 out of the 8 kicks that you have per gen, and it doesn't give you anything until the gen is done.
Yeah. Like it's a reward for losing your objective. Although I have found a very niche and like it never happens, but it's really funny, is if you can proc the machine learning on any gen, and then when the last gen completes, so all gens complete, you combine that with no-ed, and so you're just 60 seconds of undetectable 120-something% movement speed insta-down is really, really funny. There's nothing scarier than a trapper moving at like 130% coming for your ass with batteries included, machine learning, no-ed. It's really, really stupid. It never happens, but when it does happen, it's the funniest fucking thing I've ever seen.
You can do that with the Legion as well, with the BFFs.
Oh, that's a good. I might try that. That sounds.
And also, it is kind of funny with Nemesis, with the Eerie add-on that makes zombies faster, because then you and your zombies get the movement speed.
Yeah. It's fucking. Oh my god, there's so many different stupid ways you could do that. I might do like a day of just in-game builds and see what kind of dumb ideas I can come up with. So we answered this question earlier, but from Big Dill, they asked what the most difficult Wesker tech to master is. You said hug teching. Of the hug teching, is there a specific one that's harder than all the rest, or are they all just pretty much the same just because of their timing?
I mean, I would say a lot of them have different like areas in which they're difficult. Like there's an insta hug, like I talked about, where you dash onto a corner of an object and then dash again immediately. That doesn't require any timing, but you need the spacing to be perfect, like pixel perfect. But a normal hug tech, you don't need the spacing to be as perfect, but you need the timing to be perfect. But I would say the hardest is a vertical hug, where you hug the ground as you are falling down a second story, like I was talking about. I wonder, I have a clip I could show, I guess.
Yeah, you can do that.
Okay, so this wasn't like a successful one, but it's this. This, I would say, is the hardest thing you can do.
So, What would normally happen there?
Well, normally you just can't dash at all because you're falling. He can't dash in the air.
Oh, okay.
And the problem here is I aimed into this chest when I hug tech, so I bump early. But if I aimed more to the left, then I would continue the hug tech and hit them as they vaulted the window. And it would have been sick. It would have been a really cool clip. But like, it's so hard. This is genuinely like the only clip of it I have because it's so difficult.
So just spending just astronomical amounts of times trying to get it right.
Yeah.
Oh, so
this is for sure the hardest thing.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Do you think you'll ever get that like completely down?
No, probably not.
Noob King says, if you got to see a boxing match against two killers of your choice, which killers would you choose to fight each other, and who do you think would win? Probably one of the most.
I can't even remember the killers in the game.
I have to do the same thing.
Yeah, I have to look it up.
I have to, like, every so often somebody will ask me, like, oh, what killer do you think...
Alright, Clown versus Trickster. A fight to the death.
Clown would body Trickster.
yeah, I'm betting on Clown.
That's funny, actually. That's one of the greatest questions and answers we've ever had on this show. Hamet says, if you can choose one Wesker skin from any RE game, which one should they add? Shirtless Wesker?
I mean, if we're speaking from a business standpoint, everybody knows what skin they should add for Wesker. Everybody knows. Everybody knows. I don't even have to answer this question, alright? If they want infinite money, add Shirtless Wesker.
Yeah.
End of RE5?
Yeah.
That fight, add the skin from that fight. It's infinite money.
Yeah.
Infinite money. I would like a lab coat Wesker though. Personally, that would be cool. That's what I would use.
And yeah, no, I said I feel like I mentioned this once every single one of these videos, but I said they need to just do like a shirtless collection. Every single character in the game has a shirtless variant. And then every single character that releases from here on out has shirtless on release. And then you never have to worry about people begging you for shirtless skins again. Every lobby would be full of shirtless Wesker, shirtless survivors with shirtless, and people were like, "Oh, but what about the women in the game? Just put a fucking, I don't know, bra or something on them. I don't fucking know, dude. Put tape over the nipples. Who cares?
Just disables new skin.
Yeah. Like it literally just that's what you do. And everybody would be happy, and this game would just be full of shirtless people, and we wouldn't have to fucking... It would be the best business decision of their lives, honestly. And finally, from Root, they ask, do PC Wesker players have an advantage over console ones?
I suppose, yeah. Yeah, I mean, like, undeniably, yes. I wouldn't say it's as significant as, like, other killers. I think Wesker is perfectly playable on console, but there is the fact that you're locked at 60 FPS or 120 if you're new gen. Which, I mean, that sucks for hug techs. 60 FPS hug techs are extremely hard.
Mm-hmm.
And 120 FPS hug techs are extremely bad. And also, like, you can't be as fast with aiming, but at the same time, he does let you turn during his dash, so you don't need to be that fast.
Mm-hmm.
You can, like, pre-turn, pre-aim at people during a dash. And you can also... Like, he has a limited turning rate in his dash. You don't need a high DPI or anything, because it doesn't do anything.
Oh, okay. So everything's pretty much like the same between controller and PC or controller and MK, but it's the technical limitations of the um it's the technical limitations of the hardware that's more the difference.
Yeah, I mean, if you could play at 90 FPS on console, he would be basically the same. Because that is like the ideal, I suppose.
Oh, that's why I have so much trouble then. Have you been, I don't know if it's just me, but ever since the bug fix patch, have you been having problems with frame rates? Because mine has been dropping into like the 40s ever since the bug fix patch.
I mean, DVD performance always gets worse, like, every update. I don't know, I run at 78 FPS, so... I haven't ran at 120 in years, I just haven't been able to.
Well, mine's at 60, because my hardware is very limited. But like, like I said, it's been dropping down to like 40 lately, and I'm just like, fuck, dude, please. I just want to.
It drops down to 40 if I'm carrying a Yui with the new skin.
Oh my god, yeah. If there's a Yui in the game, if there's a Yui in the match, my frames are just fucked. They're just gone. I can't even hit skill checks. That's ridiculous. Well, that was all the questions we had. The last one we have that I normally ask is there anything left that you want to say to everybody watching on Twitch and in the future on YouTube?
I don't know. y'all should play Wesker. He's pretty cool. He's pretty fun.
All right.
Well, I don't know.
Well, I guess if you want to join me in thanking our channel members listed on screen now, if you want to find out how to become a channel member, they get awesome perks like seeing videos early, first discount codes, and more, then please click that join button down below. I love you guys so much. I'm sure Al does as well, and we'll see you in the next one. Need more Kaiser in your life? Well, I've got you covered. Check out my second channel, The Kaiser Extras, where I upload full gameplays, stream compilations, me reacting to your Dead by Daylight clips, and more. We also upload a daily short with all the greatest clips from stream. We'll see you over there. Link is in the description.